Hey guys, welcome to the second Complete Retouch, section 4. In this section we're going to be doing eyes and eyebrows and other small detail parts in the image. Alright, let's go ahead and hit F for full screen, and we're going to zoom in and basically start working out little details here in the eyes. Alright, we're going to create a new layer and group that with itself. Let's go ahead and double click on it. We'll call it eyes. And then we're going to zoom in, you know what, let's go in even more. Alright, it's times like these when I super appreciate having a camera with like 20 something megapixels. You can zoom way in. Okay, now first thing we're going to do, I want to go ahead and lighten the eyes and remove some of this like detail, like, you know, that sort of thing. So to do that, let's go ahead and hit J for our, there we go. We want to use the Spot Healing Brush tool. Now make sure you're set to content aware and make sure your mode is set to normal, and also you want to make sure that you're on sample all layers. Alright, and we've used this tool before, guys. Basically I'm just going in and painting. There we go. I'm going to kind of blur that line a little bit, remove some of these dark spots here. Okay, there we go. That looks good. Alright, cool. Let's pop on over to the other one. When you're zoomed in this far, it's really nice to use the spacebar to move around. Spacebar is just going to turn your cursor into the hand. So like if I hold down spacebar, see it goes to the hand, then I can click and drag and move around. It's a really nice, easy way to navigate around your image. Alright, cool. That looks good. You know what, this color is a little bit weird. I'll create a new layer, hit B for the brush tool, and then I'll sample this color right here, which looks pretty good, and I'll just paint over the top of that. And then I'm going to change my layer blend mode from normal down to, let's just try color and see how that looks. Pretty good. Alright, we're going to lower the opacity a little bit. Let's just do the same over here. Grab the color that looks pretty good and keep painting it. There we go. And then I'm going to want to zoom out and see how that looks from far away, because it looked pretty good up close. I just want to make sure that, like, I'm not giving this guy some weird colored eyes that just don't look natural at all. No, looks pretty good. Okay, great. The next thing, let's go ahead and start adding some detail to the eyes. I'm going to grab a adjustment layer. We're going to go to curves, and then we're going to go ahead and click and drag our highlights up quite a bit. Let's see if I can drag these up even more. Create a nice contrast there. Alright, let's try over here. I'm basically trying to get like really nicely detailed and contrasted eyes. Alright. Well, we'll just go with something like that for now. We can do this in a couple of different steps. I'm going to click on my layer mask and hit Control Command I. That's going to invert it. And then I'm going to go ahead and paint white on my layer mask over top of just the eye. Okay, it's actually not even doing that much. Let's go ahead and reset this curves and just click in the middle and just drag up there. Alright. You know what? Because it's basically just lightening that area, look what's going on with the color here. It looks almost like bluish, doesn't it? Okay, so we're going to try a different step, because I realize now that I need to make my eyes lighter, but I also need to color correct. Okay, so we're going to try a little something different here. This curves adjustment layer, we're going to go ahead and fill the layer mask with white. Okay? Next I'm going to make an adjustment layer, and we're going to go down to color balance. And I'm not going to do anything with that just yet. Okay, now instead of using a layer mask just here on the curves, I'm going to group the two of these together. So we're going to do the color balance and the curves. Again, one's for our light and dark, the other's for color. So Command G to group those together. And now I can put a layer mask, and if I hold Alt or Option, I can create a black layer mask, and that's going to be everything inside of there. which is really nice. So now I'm able to paint basically on just my layer mask for the group, and that's going to affect where my eyes get lighter and also the color, which is going to be really, really nice. Alright, and remember, we want to make sure that kind of the focal point of the lightness is kind of in the opposite direction of the light source. So if the light's on that side, we want to make sure that the most light winds up going over here. Okay, cool. So they're a little bit brighter. Now let's go ahead over to our color balance. Isn't this nice? Like if I just, decided I wanted it to be more red, I can do that. And then like if I grabbed a hue saturation adjustment layer and I wanted to saturate, bring in the saturation up, I can do that, and it's all just going to work in this exact same group, and they're all layer masked the same, which I think is great. Alright, so now let's start working on color. Okay. This curves adjustment layer, do we want to go lighter or darker? It's going to get to a point where it's just going to not look real at all. And you don't want to let it get to that point. Alright. There we go. Painting from a little bit far away to see how this looks. Yeah, that looks pretty good there. Alright, great. So let's go ahead into our color now, and we can start working on different colors. Now red and green combined are going to go ahead and make brown. Go ahead. Sometimes I use words that just don't need to be used. You're going to want to go ahead and make brown there. Alright. Oh, cool. Let's go with something like that. So they're creating some color and some light there. Alright, so already our eyes are looking really nice. A lot better than they were anyway. Alright, we'll just kind of lower that. Lower the visibility of it just a little bit so it looks more realistic. There we go. Great. Okay, now we're going to go to a new layer. Alright, and I'm going to go ahead and start working on some of these eyebrows. So, on this new layer, I'm going to hit S for the clone stamp tool, sample this area, and then I'm going to start painting right over here. Make sure that you're on sampling current and below. So it's going to sample and then paint. Now if I change my layer blend mode from here, right now it's on normal, I'm going to change it to darken, and basically I've got like just hair texture that's going to fill in any area that I want on my photo, right? Because I'm clone stamping the hair and set to darken. It's just like what it's going to do is it's going to fill it in with hair texture. So pretty cool. So you can really like smooth up an area of hair really, really well. Alright. Because you're painting with hair. Cool. Let's see the before and the after with that. Before and the after. See how nice and like smooth that looks in the after? Alright, let's do the same. We got a new layer here. S for the clone stamp tool, and our layer blend mode is going to be darken. Alright. So I'm painting with eyebrows. What a weird thing to say, but I am. If you don't believe me, just watch. Just watch. Alright, so that looks pretty good. I think this one, because I just don't have a ton of detail in there, I think I'm going to go in there and just grab a brush. We're going to paint with black. I'm going to bring my hardness down to about 50% there. And now we're going to bring our size way down. And I'm just going to... There we go. I'm going to paint with some of this. Try to make some hair. Alright. Cool. So now I'm using my pressure sensitive tablet and I'm just doing a little bit of brush strokes just like the ones that were already on there. Alright, and if anything doesn't look real like that right there, just hit E for the eraser tool and then erase it away. Alright, so I'm kind of stroking, downwards here, kind of following the path of the hair that already exists there. Hair's pretty easy to paint really, because it's like just a bunch of lines. Alright. Sample that color and paint that in. Cool. Alright, let's go ahead and zoom out and see how that looks a little farther zoomed out. If I need to fill in any details there, I'll just paint them in from this zoom. Alright, cool. Looks pretty good. Looking good. Sweet eyebrows, dude. Thanks. I had them retouched. Alright. And then I'm going to create a new layer and we'll just do like a couple like ones off the side to make it look real. Like this. See? A little bit of strays. I gotta say, for like basically just a brush tool, that's pretty awesome. That looks totally good. I'm totally like proud of myself over here. I am. That looks pretty good. Alright, we'll create a new layer. It's easy. Hair's easy. Just a black brush and then paint it. Alright. Let's keep painting this stuff in. That was kind of fun. I wish I could do that like all the time. Alright. Keep painting it around the eye. Okay. Alright. Looking good. Let's do a little bit more lightness in the eye. I'm going to grab an adjustment layer here. Again, we're going to go up to curves. And I'm going to bring this up quite a bit. Okay, I'm going to hit Controller Command I on that. And then here on my layer mask. Alright, let's give this some red also. Alright, and some green. Cool, and you can use your up and down arrows to control the point here in your curves. Alright, and now we'll just give those a little bit of a blur, just enough to where it doesn't look like we did it in Photoshop. That's always the goal, is like, how do you make it look, how do you Photoshop it so it doesn't look like you Photoshopped it? That's the goal. Alright. That's pretty great. That's pretty great. Okay. Cool. So eyes and eyebrows. Let's go ahead and close down that group. I'm going to hit full screen now, and we'll see there's our before and the after. Pretty good, sir. Pretty good. Alright guys, thanks so much for watching this section. We'll see you in the next.